not listening today. She absolutely has the ability to say no.
Maybe you can teach it wrong.
Would that be a bad idea on Kennedy?
All I could think about was keep your thighs squeezed.
We used to call that torture treatment.
And then she cuddled me after. I mean, I felt like we had like a true awesome connection. Nate may do that with Macy.
I don't. It's a problem. I don't do that.
And I've said this to her face, so I don't even know if she's slightly more forgiving, honestly. She's been a little bit of a brat.
I've never won anything.
Oh, we're getting nervous.
And the winner is...
Welcome back to Catching Up With Katie. Today, what we're going to focus mostly on, and I'm sure we'll go off on some tangents, is Nate and Matt have both had their first lessons at this point for the Running Springs Invitational is what I'm calling it, but I feel like there's a better name out there.
Comments.
And we need to lock this in. And so Stephanie is our trainer. We were just going to talk about like how you thought it went.
Yeah.
We now have YouTube videos out of them, and y'all can pitch in your comments of what you saw, because we're leaving a lot in there. I mean, we're not really like cutting out a whole lot of parts.
And
so this is just the starting point. This is like, okay, this is what we have to work with. So let's start with Nate.
How do I feel about what?
The lesson as a whole.
My lesson?
Yes.
I thought mine was great. I thought it was really hard. And I don't feel like... I feel like I accomplished a lot and nothing at the same time. Is how I felt walking away from it.
Do.
Yes.
So I felt like, I hardened my toes, but I just kicked a wall the whole time. Is how it feels. Like I feel more resolved in being on Kennedy.
Good analogy.
Sure.
But we didn't do anything.
I disagree with the we didn't do anything statement, because you did. I'm just saying, if you wanted to go to a quarter horse show and show in the walk trot tomorrow, you have the ability.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's encouraging.
You have the ability to go do that confidently. I'm not going to say master, but you have a very firm understanding of Kennedy, of riding a horse at the walk and a jog. Not everyone does. That's actually hard for a lot of people to figure out.
Prop Steph.
So I disagree that you did nothing. I think Kennedy was a very good example of the difficulty that horses bring, because yes, they have, like, when she's trained like that, like, she has a lot of intricate buttons.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure that out. And then there's the hard part of once you do maybe figure it out like enough that she should do what you ask, she absolutely has the ability to say no.
Yeah, I think the best way that I could describe it is trying to plug something in the dark. When you're reaching behind something, you're trying to plug it in. That was me on Kennedy trying to lope. But I'm like, that's it. And you push in, you only got one prong in.
You did so good though, because you tried in like multiple ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of times when you're like teaching someone, like they'll do just like minute changes and nothing ever happens. You have to do like these big changes to find the spot, find the button.
And the hard part for you as an instructor is when you're starting from like ground zero on a horse that is as trained as Kennedy. If you had bought Kennedy and were like, this is my show horse, she would be retraining her.
Okay.
Like if you were like, I'm going to show this horse with no spurs and I'm going to whatever, she'd have to be riding her so different.
Yeah.
And she'd have to be like making changes for you as the client.
Yeah.
Like you're coming in to her being, I'm not the world's best rider, but I understand her buttons and I understand the mechanics. So we use all of the buttons. And so that in itself is harder, but you're also having to explain what you mean. Because I've heard you say this a couple times. Sometimes you have to teach something a little wrong to get it going, and then you tweak later.
So I think that for me is more of like teaching a rider. Like sometimes like it seems like you may be skipping steps.
I want to thank Quince for sponsoring today's video. After spending most of my day outside on the farm, I always look forward to coming inside and relaxing for just a little while. And I've really been enjoying some of Quince's home essentials. This cotton fisherman throw is incredibly soft and cozy, and it's become one of my favorite things to grab at the end of a long day. I've also been loving these hand-woven palm baskets for keeping things organized, these leather picture frames for displaying some of my favorite memories, and this faux olive tree adds the perfect touch to the room. Everything feels high quality, timeless and fit so naturally into my home. One thing I really appreciate about Quince is that they focus on premium materials and timeless pieces that are built to last. They work directly with top-tier manufacturers, so you get that high-end quality without the traditional luxury markup. Whether you're looking for home essentials, clothing, or gifts, everything I've tried has fit so naturally into my everyday routine. If you'd like to check out Quince for yourself, head to the link in my description or scan the QR code on your screen to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Thanks again to Quince for sponsoring today's video. Now, back to it.
Like if you were to really go, okay, this is how you get from point A to point B, but sometimes you got to skip a couple steps, just get the feel of something, and then you can come back and tweak it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So,
Yeah. And so I think, because I was bewildered that you got her on the right lead easily.
Yeah,
That's normally, you know what? Actually, I take it back. That's not her fancy way, but that is her easy way. It's her easy way to maintain and have her listen to your legs.
yes.
The other way is way easier to get fanciness.
Yeah.
Like her quality
But
movement.
for the most part, her right lead, that's the tweaky, like depart. And then I feel like her brakes are good, but the left lead is just like so easy. I mean, you don't do a whole lot.
And
So I think we were just doing too much.
Okay.
I think that was part of everything was just too much. We didn't find the right
Yeah.
spots and things.
throwing this out there. As a kid, when I was learning on like a complicated horse, sometimes I got put on the lunge line or I got put in the round pen. And would that be a bad idea on Kennedy, do you think?
I don't think so.
Punishment.
If I need to run around the
actually,
pen, I
sometimes.
can do that.
I feel like it takes the steering aspect out of it, which is actually when you get down to the root of it, like a lot of the problem because you're worried about keeping them from running into something or whatever.
Yes.
And so then that's such a focus that the other things are harder. If you took the steering out of it,
Also, too, it's kind of like, I think what you were kind of saying earlier was like, sometimes you have to teach a horse to be a good teacher. You have to teach it to be a good lesson horse. And that's like a great way to start is on a lunge line because really Kenneth is going to listen to me. You know what I mean? Like he might help a little bit, but that might be a good, just kind of happy, like middle ground to like fix a couple things.
and then mentally for her, she might be like, okay, they're like,
Exactly.
Okay.
Is that where I'm on the horse connected to you in the middle?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Makes
like
sense.
she could stop her
Yeah.
if needed or, whatever.
Yeah.
That also, so what's funny though, you're going to have a harder time than you think. Well, maybe not, but I feel like on the lunge line, because you're turning so much, it also shows you how bad your balance is. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it forces you to really get centered.
Yeah. And I feel like I was struggling with that already. I feel like I'm going to fall off.
Yeah.
Like you're not even centered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, would it be the worst thing to like just let him hold the horn a few times?
No.
And like
Not at all.
just get the feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
You
is
just got to
the
get the
hard
feel
part.
of things.
Would that be like maybe you can teach it wrong to feel, then
That's
come
not even
back.
teaching it wrong. That's just going back to like basics.
Yeah.
Basics.
Okay. Yeah.
Which maybe we did wrong by just
Well, I think we're trying to get as much accomplished in a
a
short
window.
short period of time.
Sure.
So we're just
Sink or
throwing.
swim
We're
kinda
just
situation.
yeah, it
Generally,
is.
with most things, I do learn best if you just throw me in the fire,
yeah.
and just expect a lot of me, and let's
but with
do
the
it.
fire, there's very distinct things like, okay, like stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Imagine stop, drop, and roll, but the fire was like, I'm not listening today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even then, though, like I agree. I think it's like
Kennedy's the fire.
I would rather experience that and then
She
like
is.
go back to basics and be like, okay, well I know that she's like this way, and now I know kind of like what to expect instead of like being like super let down after like
Yeah.
going from A B C D.
Okay, well, we'll listen up on you for a moment and turn to Matt.
I'm sore.
Matt had his first lesson literally yesterday, so it's fresh. You're sore.
I went and sat on my like hard kitchen seat and I sat right back up. I'm sore. It's a little adjustment. I don't know. I almost texted you this morning. I was like, praise to your craft and what you do. Like, imagine like a full day of riding or whatever. And like, I just,
Now, do you know why I get up and waddle now?
yeah,
I mean, I think
a
it's.
lot less commentary from me these next 4 shows.
I feel like you use less muscles. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I don't have to use as much leg sometimes as like they're using. I feel like they're locking up.
Yeah.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Like you get a lot more efficient with your muscle use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
If
you
that
know, like
makes
after a
sense.
car wreck, you're really sore because you go like that's how I was on Ethel.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Jonathan did that on the one time. Like literally, he's ridden a horse twice in our marriage. Not even our marriage, our relationship. We went on a trail ride in Colorado 2 years ago. He was so the entire time that he was so sore for days after because we went on like this 6-hour thing.
Yeah.
And he kept thinking the horse was going to kill him, and it was literally just stomping of flies. But
It's the balance issue. Though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because once you're
because-
rigid, you
yeah.
can't. It's like you topple off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not like down and
But
around.
like you're rigid because you don't know how to balance, or you're just not like used to that feeling.
fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
think
especially if
that's
they're
what it is.
standing and then they're like, you know what?
They like cock a hip.
Let's shift.
we need to take their hands away. How fun.
We do like tie our hands behind our back.
No, what instructors will
Hands
do.
up.
Yes. Hands to the side.
Hands to the side.
Hands to the riding position. One arm up. Okay, one arm in front. One arm to the side. This arm up, this arm to the side. Like, and you do it when you get super advanced with no stirrups and no hands.
Mm-hmm.
We used to call that torture treatment. And we do it for 2 weeks before the youth world.
It's fun.
And then I would go in if I had made the finals, and I would have had no problem with no stirrups.
Wow.
I do
that'd be
think
crazy.
so. It's like I think I'm just trying to like she was talking about whenever we were doing it, like thinking of all the different things at the same time as on top of having to stay centered and stay on the saddle. So it's like I mean my upper body, but just like my whole lower half is just tense, just trying to like. Yeah, keep your thigh like it's like all I could think about was keep your thighs squeezed, but then you have to remember everything else. It's just I don't know.
It's similar
So-
to learning how to play an instrument.
Yeah.
Where you're like, my strumming is just, or I can't do this with my left hand and my right hand,
Yeah.
and it's just working that brain.
Now I will say, like that being said, though, like all of that aside, I felt like it was sick. Like I felt like she made me. I felt like she gave me way too much confidence.
Up on the horse watching you. I mean, you heard me cheering because it was great. You were able to lope both ways. You felt the confidence to be like, Nate,
Yeah, like
tell
I
me
was,
what to do.
Oh,
I
shit.
can do it all. He had the confidence. But after watching the video, I rolled the tapes last night. Rougher from the ground because, and I'll tell you this so that you can grow. You were like
I know.
hanging off the side of her.
I know.
Like your whole body as you were loping around was off to this, like the entire side. Worse than him.
I felt it.
So that's also the like difference of horses, right? Like
Yes.
Ethel is just so much
Yeah.
more forgiving and so much
Yep.
more like, okay. Whereas Kennedy would be like, absolutely not. We're not doing that if you're not centered. So you have the confidence now, which is amazing. And you were able to make her do all that. Like you were trotting, you were posting and him actually getting a 1-2 was amazing.
That was slick.
Amazing. So you could go do the ranch riding with minimal more. You could go like start your ranch
But kind of
riding
like same
journey.
thing, like to what she said. Like, yeah, like I felt like I was leaning off the saddle. But now, like I 100% know what loping feels like, and I know like what that feels like, and I know like I know what it feels like to be. And I even told her, I was like, look, like I don't. She's such a great teacher. Like there was. I told Katie, I told her, was talking to Nate about it, like there was nothing on the table that was left like not understood. Like everything was translated well. It was, it's simply just, the matter of doing it and repetition. I was saying like, I'm not going to be able to explain, my issue here, but I know at least what feels right and what feels wrong. Mm-hmm. And so like, I can tell if like, hey, like, yes, this was a great lope, or like I felt like I was more centered on the horse. I can tell when I'm not. I don't know necessarily which way to go to fix it necessarily, but I can tell what's right and what's wrong.
I think you just like kind of busted through all of the initial like, this might be hard. And you're like, okay, I can do it. And that's so much easier. And then now we're able to just like tweak, which might make other things pop up. But I think you had a really good start.
I really, if she, and again, Ethel was so great. Like I felt like,
She's the
She's
sweetest.
and then she cuddled me after. I mean, I felt like we had like
She's the
a true,
best.
like a true
Cuddle
awesome,
picture right here.
awesome connection.
bonding
Elena's
moment.
photos just were fan. I've never.
Did you show your wife?
I did. She loved them. I loved them.
She was like, so while I'm home with 2 children under 2, this is what you're doing?
No, I was telling her about the horse show and whatnot. She thought it was really cool.
You hadn't even told her yet?
Yeah. Well, I told her yesterday. I had a baby.
That's true. You were on leave.
Nobody
You didn't have to think about
communicates.
work.
We were in the hospital and she was pushing. And I was like, come on, baby.
By the way,
We've been doing that. We've been planning this since way before your child was born.
But I had to make sure it was like actually happening. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I did tell her. Like, I'm trying to get like more of like, she would never care about it. But I think that's like a guy thing. It's like, how was your day? Good. Like, how was work? It was good. Instead of, well, it was great. We talked about this horse show idea. Like it was, and Nate may do that with Macy.
I don't. It's a problem. I don't do that.
But it's like, hey, how was work? It was great. What'd you do? Just worked.
But I did. But now, anytime that I even remotely hear buzz about anything, I put it in a calendar that she can see.
Did you get her attached to our skylight yet? Or
No.
our skylight on your?
No, I haven't. It's
We
on
have a
my phone. It's
skylight
not
with
on her
everybody
phone.
on it. This is not a plug. Like that's just the only way we found
They are cool though.
to do it. And so everyone has a shared calendar, and then everyone has tasks. It's amazing.
I will say though, watching you ride Ethel to just, I could see like in the first 10 minutes, just the confidence going like this,
Oh yeah.
increasing. And once I saw like great confidence, and Ethel's the underdog of the show.
She is.
Ethel's the underdog.
Absolutely.
And I think 2, a
You're
lot of
probably
people
the
would say
underdog.
you're the underdog of the show.
I've never won anything, I've always gotten last at everything. It's not even that I've never won anything. I've gotten last at everything.
And I will say this: I'm
Not at
competitive, so you
Not at
can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I would never let you win.
And I know that, and I love it.
But I might. It's at least equal, if not a little more excitement and joy, if they were like, and the winner is Matt and Ethel.
You say that, but your competitiveness, I know you. You are
No.
going to not love that.
I genuinely feel that way. I would never let you beat me.
Well, he's the yin and the yang. He's won everything.
I would, and that's I would never let you beat me. The only one that I'll be sour about is if Rachel wins. If Rachel beats
Okay,
us,
let me just say, and I've said this to her face, so I can say it here. After watching both of your lessons, especially Matt's, she started playing this little, I think I should just let Matt win. It'd be for better TV. It'd be for whatever. And I was like, oh, we're getting
He's starting to do
nervous.
like that.
well, I'll say this:
I
if
was like,
Rachel
she's
lets you
planting
win, you're
the
still gonna have
seed
to
that
beat me.
She's gonna let him.
I don't.
And I told her that is absolutely not allowed.
Yeah, I'll be. If Rachel beats me, I'll be. I feel like I didn't. I could have beat her.
She is at a disadvantage because she's been banned from lessons except for the group lessons because of her previous riding experience. And so she isn't. Like, I have no doubt that she'll be able to get on Ricky and make Ricky do the things. But there is something to be said about, like, that's hard to get on a horse, even if you know what you're doing. Like me getting on someone else's show horse and going into the pen, it's like a unreadable map. Like it's hard.
And Ricky's barely been under
Messed
saddle
with. Yeah, she's been
compared
off
to
for
the
years.
other 2. Yeah.
So she's in regular rotation. She's being ridden, but like she has an attitude. Ricky has a big attitude. So do we consider our next lesson before we leave? Because we kind of were like, hey, we're about to leave for NSBA World. Like we're not riding Kennedy prior to me showing her NSBA World anymore, like them. And so our next lesson before we leave is going to be just halter. So I was like, let's just do it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's easy enough.
Yeah, that's super
You
easy.
can do that.
And the way that we're doing halter for it is normally it would be only based on the horse. And it would be based on the horse's conformation, how they're built. We're judging it in a way that's like, okay, how did you present your horse? So, one of them may have the better conformed horse, but if they have the better horse and they set her up really parked out and didn't get her ears up and had her standing, a little bit diagonal or whatever, then they're not going to beat the person with maybe the lesser quality horse that did it correctly. And so that's how we're judging it. And so we're going to do that as the next lesson. So that's all on the ground. You're just leading them. You have to present your horse. I feel like y'all are going to do great at that.
I'll enjoy
I'll
it.
at least look good.
I'll at least, yeah.
I mean,
That'll be a fun one.
And like we're just to confirm, like obviously we're gonna have the,
we're dressing for it.
apparel.
Yeah.
But we're gonna like do like a suit and whatnot for the
Suit and a cowboy hat.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there is a.
I mean, you could technically just do like a button up with a belt.
Well, like how we're like having
yeah.
the shirt for like that, like I guess it's like getting off and then doing it all in
You
the same
could
garb.
just do your like. I'll allow whatever you want
I just
because
personally
we're going to
would love a
start with
costume
halter
change.
so that we don't have to
Okay,
like
cool, great.
mess with the,
Yeah.
trying to get the saddle marks
Yeah.
out and stuff. So we'll start with halter, and you could do a suit, and we'll have it like a tack change time. Or if you just want to wear, you won't be counted against. Like
Right,
you can
yeah.
just wear your like show shirt
will
with
in my
jeans.
heart.
For photo, like I just think, and I just going to the horse shows, they just look so sharp,
So
they
clean.
look so great.
Yeah.
Just out there in suits and cowboy hats, and the horse looks great. It's just really just
It's
a
at
big
least
showcase.
half
They
the
really
allure.
liked showmanship
It's
at
at
the
least-
premiere.
I did.
We
Showmanship
are
is
doing a show
fun.
and Are we doing a
It's so
showmanship?
fun.
Wait,
That is not a part of this.
I did. I
What-
did
what-
get
what's-
those two mixed up. But yes, showmanship was what
Halter,
I was talking about.
Western pleasure,
Horsemanship.
costume, horsemanship,
We got
Which
a
is-
master going in a circle
which
first.
that's based on the rider.
Yeah.
And that's a pattern.
Yeah. I'm about patterns.
We have to work on that.
I was
The
confident.
pattern might turn into a walk trot pattern.
Please.
This is not the face of a concerned rider.
I will say
should
this,
be.
like, as far as like advantages and disadvantages go, I feel like every person and their horse makes the playing field even. Where you have like maybe Rachel having Kennedy would make
I think
things
they
more
should have
even.
flopped horses to make it even.
Maybe
Who?
You and Rachel.
maybe that would have gone. But Rachel with no lessons going on maybe a slightly more forgiving horse than Kennedy.
I don't even know if she's slightly more forgiving, honestly.
Ricky?
She's been a little bit of a brat.
Who, Ricky? Mm-hmm. But you think me having Ricky would have been a little
Maybe.
better?
Maybe not.
I don't know.
I just cashed out.
Honestly,
with
Ethel was like the prime pick.
Ethel.
Ethel was A1.
Yeah.
We're learning that now. Like it might seem like, oh, the other ones are going to shows or the other ones are whatever.
But I would be certainly disheartened a lot if I had not gotten it. Like if I had gotten anything but Ethel, like I would be worried.
Like had you
I
had Nate's first lesson, would that have rattled you?
even like I knew, like I felt like you said, like my confidence level was like I can get on a horse, like whatever, but you know, like, that's great, but like. Not that it was like I was leaning off, like, you know, there was mess ups, but I knew like, oh, I did that. Like I totally just did that wrong. Like I'm moving my, you know, I didn't hit that button right, or I did hit that button right. I felt like I was learning a video game as opposed to plugging
something in the dark.
I felt like I was just learning a video game, learning how to like drive a car or like ride a bike. And like once I got it, like it was just clear.
Kind of with the outlet cover off too.
Yeah.
So you're like, you might touch something.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of you're doing it, but you're a little nervous.
But I
too.
almost like I almost don't want to see
that is
that,
can be.
hearing your. I guess like what's Stephanie's feedback? Like that was just our experience. Like who was better?
Who was better?
You can go.
What you can tell us who you think was better, and it's maybe different things and why.
He wants to know.
It won't hurt my feelings or.
So I think, well, it's hard because you guys had different, like, we're very different rides. So Ethel kind of like got like moving, you know. Kennedy, I don't think will ever move that much unless you really, really make
I don't know.
her.
Ethel seems ranchy at heart.
I almost
though.
felt like we were galloping at something.
You were mildly. It's mild.
You looked
Mild gallop.
ranchy at times.
It was cool
Then I
to
came
watch.
over to Stephanie. I was like, hey, so like, whenever she's like going a little too fast, like, without completely stopping the horse, like, because then in my mind, every movie you watch, every Western you watch, you just go, whoa, and then they'll slow down like horses are supposed to do instead of just go, ah! You know, so I was like, hey,
How do I just ease it off?
but then again, like you're thinking of so many things, and then she said something. She's like, just pull the reins back. I was like, oh, I forgot you could do that. Besides just saying, well, it's like I'm thinking of 50 different things other than like the most
like,
simple thing.
Whoa!
Yeah, whoa.
That's so funny.
But what were your thoughts?
Yeah.
Positive, negative, like we're hopeless, we got promise?
I thought it was all very positive. Kennedy was hard. That was hard. But I do feel like that's a very good learning. It's like you
Told
did
you a lot.
Yes, it told me a lot. And also like you like figured out some things that like I never would have expected you to figure out in like one lesson, as far as like shaping and like how to like put her body parts places. She just needs a spur. And at that point was just kind of
She just had
done
no
with
respect for you as well.
Yeah, she was like, get it off. So sorry.
You did make a comment, and I've really just been right. That's been carrying me through since I got off the horse. About it was some comment. I tried to find it in the audio, but we'd already stopped. It was like, I think you could actually do this, or something along those lines. And I was like,
Absolutely. Yes.
that
You
really-
absolutely
that
could.
internally locked me in.
You could show in the pleasure, easy peasy. If we had like a year to do this, this would be different.
That locked me in.
3 months during the most important shows of the year.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
What about me?
I think you did a great job.
But she doesn't think I could do this
No, I think we got to figure some stuff out
mechanically.
and then it'll be good.
I need to learn how to ride a horse first.
Should we put them both on the line of line?
Honestly, I think it'd be good if they both did it.
Yeah.
Could be a good lesson.
I think a lunge line lesson
Yeah.
is needed.
You're taking an amateur horse rider and teaching him to ride Kennedy, and you're just taking a civilian and putting in.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I feel like you just didn't have the balance that he had, but also like your horse was like going places. You have a lot more go.
And I
than
think
that
it'll
one.
be helpful for you. I feel like it was helpful for me to watch you, and I think it'll
I
probably
wish
be
I'd been
helpful
there.
for you to
It
watch
is.
me.
Yes.
sure.
Because you'll be able to see, oh, I can see what she's telling him to do this. And obviously I'm watching him do it. He can't feel it or see that he's doing it, but I can tell he's not on that horse ride. You
The
know?
only thing you can really feel like is like the pace, and like, oh, I can tell this is a trotter, I can tell this is a jogger, or whatever. But yeah, I wish I'd have been there to see yours as well.
Me too.
Yeah. I saw the snarkiness of you yesterday a few times
Well,
towards him.
I mean, he was hitting some of these.
Yes.
Cameras were rolling, and I had to for sure make sure that my face didn't show that hey, she's going a little fast.
Yeah.
I'm falling.
As you're
I'm
going
falling off
by,
this.
you just get a.
And it killed me that she said that about like me falling like on the ground. It looked like you were falling off the saddle, because that was the one thing. Like everybody was cheering. Everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, you're doing it!" And I was like, "Oh man, I really thought I was like halfway off that saddle right there." I was like, I guess I'm all right.
After further inspection.
Yeah. So I just tried to not make
I thought
my
it was
face
really
show
good,
that
though.
everything was intentional.
Yeah, your confidence was definitely showing, because you were getting real witty, getting real. You were sending some jokes
Yeah.
his way, my way.
Yeah.
Just trying to,
Everybody was getting a little
I loved
from
it.
Matt.
But if I win, it's just going to add to it. But
Hey,
if I
so much
lose, it'll
more.
also add to it. So.
Yeah.
The one thing is, top 3 get a belt buckle. So
Let's go. I'm getting one of them.
I still had to think about that.
I'm getting one of them.
Don't leave somebody out.
the one thing, and Rachel did show me her. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Rachel did show me her costume idea. I think it's very cute. I think it's in her wheelhouse, because she was going to like not put a lot of effort, and I was
Yeah.
like,
I'm glad you pushed her. in the
you
right
have
direction.
to.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing this. And I kind of was like, hey, if like you probably do have it in the bag for the pleasure and the horsemanship. You probably do. But like, they're coming up behind you and you're not getting to practice. And if they do equal or better than you in the halter, and then they smoke you in the costume.
Okay, so here's a question on the judging. Is it only like first, second, third in this, or is it
Sorry.
you got first and you got plus 3.5, but Matt got second at plus 3, so he's only half a point behind, even though he only got second, or is it just
So we're doing 30% for Western pleasure, 30% for horsemanship, 15% for costume, 15% for halter.
But is that based on points or placement?
So we're going.
Probably
I'm going to see how
placings.
they do the Western versatility because that's how they do the Western
Yeah.
versatility. That's how they do those challenges.
Say it. You have to say it.
Western versatility. That's how they do it. And so I'll do some sleuthing on how they do that math. But like I'm planning on placing out each one.
Yeah.
Like maybe we just have ribbons for the like
Yeah.
individual placements and then
yes.
the big prizes for the big ones.
Yes, you have to.
And so you'll get like you might not win the whole thing, but you might win something.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to be a part of it all. That's what I told Nate. Like, at the end of my lesson, it was just like me and him and Rachel, and I was like, I kind of wish that this wasn't a competition. It was just like, come on, guys, let's all ride horses
just all go
together.
ride
Like, it
together.
was like,
If that was the case, I see. I'm a firm believer in someone should win.
I agree.
We know.
I agree. But it's just like at the end of that, it was just like such a fun time of like, it was like, I just like wasn't, I felt bad because I wasn't technically, didn't feel like I was working aside from it being like an actual film day. And so it was just like, I wish we just weren't doing any of this and we were all just friends riding horses and, we just all just come to the barn and just like hang out.
Hey, this is also feeding into y'all being comfortable enough to do a sip and set, or what do we say? A sit and sip?
A sit and sip,
Where you
I think
sit
it
in the
was.
saddle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sip a little
Yeah.
something.
She's ready for that.
Yap.
Ready.
Yeah. A saddle sip and sit.
Yeah.
Now, if we get to, by next year, we're going to have for riding horses. So right now, pretty much all we got is like Ethel, Kennedy, Ricky, because everybody else is like a 2-year-old or, whatever. Next year, we'll have those 3 plus Gracie, Annie. Maybe that's it.
Could be worth breaking in
Maybe
on.
that's it. That's
But that's
fine.
almost double.
You could be on Molly by next year. So that's 6.
Yeah.
Y'all work
absolutely.
together.
So that's 6.
Y'all are coworkers.
5 to 6 horses to be ridden next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's enough for the whole game.
I feel like if she was in shape, Annie would have been a good choice for this. You
She
don't
would
know
have been a
Annie
good-
yet.
Annie would have been.
Forget about her.
Have y'all ridden Annie?
No, but we've gone to shows
No,
and
but I've
watched
been
her
all
do
about
it.
Annie.
You've watched a 7-year-old.
I've watched
show
Annie's
her,
show.
so. She's a good
She's
girl.
great.
You said at one time I could walk trot on Annie at a Murfreesboro show way back in the day.
No, I know, absolutely.
Yeah,
like
that was
she's
long before I had the skills I do now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm working with Stephanie.
she's super easy and like dead sighted, so you can like kick the crap out of her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" You know.
Yeah, I would be thinking the same thing. What am I doing?
But yeah, we're excited. I think that was a good like starting point because, it could have been worse. It could have been where you just like
Could've fell
couldn't get anything done. You could have fallen off. A lot of people thought you fell off.
They thought I fell. When I tell you my legs were so exhausted, like I physically could not have kept riding.
Yeah, he was locked up.
I had to
like
get,
this
as soon as I
jello
got
legs.
off, like my legs were. And I'm like, barely walking. And everyone on the internet was like,
Because we just put a clip of it on Snapchat.
it was just a clip of me walking off. And they're like, he fell off. They're like, I can't believe he fell off. And it's still just riding around him. And he fell. And glad he's okay.
I gotta say, like,
Nope.
and maybe it's just blind faith in just what I'm doing. It's like same thing with like flying. It's just like I never once am worried about crashing, and I never even thought about falling off the
Yeah.
horse. It's just like it's just blind faith. Like
Let
I
me
just
just
trust
say-
that this will never happen.
You were so much closer to falling off than
I
he
know.
was.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
But everybody was cheering for me, so I thought I was like, dude, this was how.
But
it was.
maybe you
great.
weren't.
let me just say, had
was.
she decided to go to the right quickly one time, off to the left, off.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I could feel it. I could feel me like because she's doing this. I'm going.
It was the lope mostly because I know what was happening. You were putting so much emphasis on trying to push with that leg. So did you see what I just did? You're like, you're pushing. That's exactly what's happening.
Okay. Maybe I don't know how much more I have for you, like question wise. I feel like you've answered everything. Any homework? Anything I can do?
Maybe like get on a
Exercises?
couch pillow or something like that.
anything
and,
I can
like, work
do
on
not
buttons?
on a horse to get better?
I don't know.
In my
Like
off time?
I told
some
him
balance.
the stair thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
That could help.
I feel like a hard part of pushing your heels down is it starts hurting.
Yeah. You're like tight there.
Yeah. Okay.
Non-horse people just aren't.
You stand on a stair and then you drop your heels and just kind of stretch out.
Anything for balance? I don't know.
Anything for balance?
Keep doing the good girl, bad girls,
Yeah.
as you call
Those.
them.
I have to get stronger.
I feel like that's really
stamina.
the only thing. And core strength. I mean, those are really
Planks.
Yeah.
the only thing that really help.
I got pulled over yesterday, and this is my final comment, unless there's another. I got pulled over yesterday, and I was going over the speed limit, but I knew I was because I had a bully behind me. I don't speed. I think that's the dumbest waste of money is a speeding ticket. I just don't speed. I was going fast, and as soon as he threw his lights on, I pulled over. I already knew, and the guy just happened to take the exit as soon as it was. I was caught. It was just me.
So he was just
caught.
riding you until
he took the exit. Cop came. It was done. Came up to my window. I was like, "Look, man." I'm just kidding. I said, "Look, man. Like, I know I was speeding. I know I was in the wrong. Just for what it's worth, this was the reason why." Super cool guy. I was like, "Man, I understand it. Can't be doing that." And he's like, "Notice you're." He said, "Where are you coming from?" I was like, "I'm coming from a video shoot. Just trying to save myself here to roll some dice." And I was like,
Does
"I'm
your
coming
wife
from."
like horses?
No, I'll tell you what I said, and I really hope he doesn't watch your channel.
I can actually get you on property.
Not even close. Not even close. Worse. Because I have all this armor in my back. In the back of the car. I was like, yeah, I just came from the video shoot, as you can tell from all this armor and stuff in the back of my car. Completely unapplicable. And he was like, oh, do you do like Ren Fair type stuff? And I was like, he's like, I saw the D&D tattoos. And I was like, you play D&D? He's like, I've been playing for the last 10 years. Did I play about once a
Is
month?
this our new DM?
I asked, and he said, I was like, I don't know if this would be appropriate.
He goes, go ahead. He cuts the body cam off.
But he let me go off with a warning. Fellow D&Der. I just thought it was notable.
Yeah.
That,
So not a new DM.
not a new DM though.
Also on that, so I don't know how much will be shown on the other side of the camera, but big things happening for just like KVS as a whole.
Yeah.
Like the, making content and whatever. You remember how in January, what's it called?
Intuition.
New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution. Close.
My New Year's resolution was to let other people help me and to not be editing after 7 p.m.
Yes.
Wildly unsuccessful. Wildly, actually. And so after, every year it just gets busier. Every year I would like to travel more. I have other goals other than making like 12 videos a day, but I still want 12 videos a day and I still want to be involved in them. But so much goes on around them, like planning them, executing them, editing them, all the things. And so I hired 2 people this week. Not 1, but 2. And I'm really excited.
That's exciting.
I know. I feel like it's going to do nothing but up the content. I feel like it's going to do nothing but like up the quality of the content. We already like that makes our little content like group 7.
And it'll give us more time to hang out.
No. No, we'll just work more in different ways.
That's what I like to hear instead of eating your way out of there.
No, we're just working more in different ways.
Yeah, okay,
Because
okay,
I want to like once a month have like a no offense, like a real guest on like a podcast.
Somebody who wants to be. It doesn't have to be, you know what I'm saying?
But like kinda. And so I'd like to do something separate from catching, like not do less. Don't freak out. Not do less of anything.
Yeah.
That's what everyone else was like. She's let it go to her head and she's stopping.
We're still going to catch up.
Not doing less, adding in more, and it allows for like projects like that. And
Because you don't have the time to do that.
Just don't have the time.
literally not.
You couldn't do it if you wanted to.
No,
No matter
So-
how much I say, let's do it, Katie, you can't.
No, literally none. And so I am very excited that we're
Yeah.
going forward. We're building.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Always
So,
Exciting new chapter.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So I thank you,
You
Stephanie,
be always improving.
for your
welcome.
words of wisdom. We appreciate it. And stay tuned for more of their lessons leading up into this horse show. Again, please help us nail down a name for this thing.
Yeah.
Katie's
And
Horse Show.
no. And, you know, if we get done with, I don't honestly know the dates. If we get done with Kennedy and because Ethel's going too, maybe we find a little arena that's not too busy at NSBA World.
Why
Hop
not?
on.
A little 3 a.m.
not?
lesson.
No.
Imagine
Normal
Katie
time.
is going into the show pen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right when you is
Show
that
pen, yeah.
show pen where you're
Arena.
showing, where you're showing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Katie's going to the show pen. She's making her lounge. She's locked in. She's showing this horse.
Yeah.
And she looks across the show pen, and that's Kennedy. That's Ethel. We just like, here we come, buddy.
Here we come.
Here
But
we come.
Katie
Who
would
would
be
I
on.
be showing if I'm not showing
Denver.
Kennedy? Oh.
Oh.
Hey,
Oh.
both of them are actually eligible for the 5 and over maturity that I'm showing him in.
Oh.
Just the whole time we're just making our rounds in complete silence, just going.
I'm like, who's videoing? You've handed the cameras off to random people.
They're like,
Oh my gosh.
That'd be
Okay.
so that's like a fever dream.
Hope y'all enjoyed and stay tuned for more because so much is about to be happening.